Over the years, the show Dance Moms has been put into question as some looking back have realized how controversial it was for the kids on the show to literally just get screamed at for what felt like the entire episode, or witness their moms scream at each other, or Abby scream at their mothers. Several kids from the show have spoken out in recent times to talk about what it was like filming the show and their experience with Abby Lee Miller, their dance teacher. A lot of them feeling like a show like this could not be filmed today, as people would certainly have called out the producers if something was currently like this on the air. And they're bringing Dance Moms back, but it's not going to be like it was, that's for sure. But the original moms of the show seem to agree that this show just couldn't not air the way that it was today. Melissa, one of the moms on the show, did a Q&A on her YouTube channel not too long ago talking about this, and now it's time for Abby Lee Miller to talk about how she feels looking back on the Dance Moms experience and what she thinks about what the girls have had to say about their time working with her on the show. Abby sat down with Sophia Franklin earlier this month for a podcast episode where they dove into all things Dance Moms, and she was talking about how controversial the show really was, and said that it resulted in the girls getting a lot of love, not only from the public, but also from brands, and feels as though because of how she was on the show as this tough dance teacher, brands did not want to work with her or send her PR, but she felt like it would have made more sense for brands to send her stuff over the kids.
That's why I don't have all those deals.
Yeah.
You know, that's why nobody sends me makeup every week. Big boxes like the kids on the show that I would actually wear it. They're 12 and they're getting makeup that a 40-year-old woman would wear, not a 12-year-old kid, you know?
Yes.
And then I never understood that also when you get all that free stuff, because if I tell the world, look, there's this red lipstick and this is the best lipstick for competition. Every dancer needs this. Every dancer would go buy it. Is everybody really running out and buying a $35 lipstick because some 12-year-old's wearing it to sit at home and do TikToks?
I mean,
they probably are saying it, but I think if I had it and said, should be in your makeup kit, they would have it.
She was asked if she's ever had an I've gone too far moment while filming, which she said, of course, but she didn't seem to have any regrets about it. She felt like that was her job, and she also said that it was how she was raised. She felt like a lot of the time she was just sticking up for herself, and she was going to stand her ground if the moms came at her.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. But at the end of the night, I had to go home and sleep.
Yeah.
Like a baby. I was exhausted. So you're pushed into the corner often on a reality show like that. And, you know, my life, the way I was raised by my parents, they were older when they had me, 38. That's not old now, but back then that was very old. They just didn't know how long they'd be around, and they wanted me to be able to stand up for myself and to, dream big and do what I felt I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get pushed back into a corner, especially in my studio, when I'm in my building that my parents gave me their life savings to buy the land, that I borrowed all that money at 21 years old to build this building. When I'm there and some woman comes in screaming the F word at me, look out, because I'm backed into that corner, but I am coming out with my dukes up. But yeah, and that's when I sometimes feel like, oh, I wish that wouldn't have happened today. But it is what it is, that I have to go on. And I know in the long run that I am making incredible dancers. And that was my job, always.
Now, on the topic of Maddie, the two of them are not on talking terms, and Maddie doesn't even like to mention Abby by name when she's interviewed. She just references her as her dance teacher. But she did recently open up about her experience on the show and talked about the pressures that she faced so young of having to be the best, having to be perfect all the time as a result of Abby. And she's really been trying to undo all those traits because it was a toxic way of thinking, as she was just so hard on herself and still is sometimes.
It's honestly a struggle every day that I deal with. Not every day, but like even now I'm really trying to unpack like all of those, like my thought process when I was younger, also through my dance teacher, was like, you have to be the best. If you don't win, you're not good. And so that was like the mentality when I was so little, and I was such a perfectionist and I was so hard on myself, and now I'm trying to unlearn all those traits.
Meanwhile, Abby stands by being so tough, saying that she had to be the way that she was in order for the kids she taught to be the best. And when asked how she felt about what Maddie has recently said about the environment of her old dance studio and Dance Moms, Abby says that she was hurt and confused because she felt like things back then were different in her mind.
I was obviously hurt, but I also felt strange. It was an odd feeling of how a child doesn't remember. You know, we all remember things differently.
Yeah.
Some memory that you have that was awful for you as a teenager, somebody else was at that same party or that same place and it was wonderful for them.
Yep.
So that just depends. I hugged that kid so close and so tight to my body while her mother and dad were screaming obscenities at each other. Buying her first pair of point shoes for her birthday party. If you look at the timeline, any time that we had a break, we were off for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. She was with me flying somewhere to teach. I was teaching, she was demonstrating. So if it was so toxic, why, when we had a break, was she not in the class at the studio? Why was she not near me? Why was she not with me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were making money, so maybe the people would say, well, she just only went to get the money. I don't know. She was a child. It was fun. We had a great time.
She really dismissed Maddie's feelings about her experience and continued to talk about how she felt seeing all that Maddie has come out to say, saying she felt as though Maddie had been brainwashed or something because she really just doesn't remember it being as bad as Maddie has described.
And I was hurt and I was confused and I thought, was she brainwashed? Did she not remember? Did she go to like some place where they like erase your memory? Like, how do you not remember all of that?
And in regards to the storyline over the years that Maddie was the favorite child in the class, Abby says that it was more of a result of her mother's actions and how well Maddie did in school that led her to getting so much special attention from her. Abby claims that any of the other girls could have been in the same position, but Maddie's mom made for her to be a favorite because Maddie could be taken out of school. She was ahead of the curriculum, so she had free time. They had her helping out with the kindergarteners at her school because she was so ahead. So instead of doing that, her mom would just pull her out of school, take her to dance, and then bring her back. And because she was getting all this extra time, Abby's saying that's what got her all this favoritism.
Maddie's mother went to the school, picked her up, brought her to the dance studio where she learned her solo without any cameras there, wink, wink, where she learned part of the group dance without anybody else being there. Her mother took her back to school. She walked in the door. 10 minutes later, turned around, walked out, dismissed with her little sister. And Mackenzie never knew that Maddie wasn't there all day. And this went on for years. So the favorite thing could have been any one of the kids whose mothers were willing to go get them out of school all day.
Yeah.
One couldn't miss a day of school. Another one's mother was the principal, so she couldn't leave. You know, the other ones were not too swift and they couldn't miss school like that.
Abby was asked if she sees herself reconciling things with Maddie at any point, and Abby thinks that it's on Maddie to come to her because Abby is her elder.
Well, that's another etiquette thing, okay? I'm the elder. She should speak to me. If you're in a room, you go to a wedding, here, there, whatever, and the child should go to the adult and say, hello, Miss Abby, how are you? It's great to see you, whatever. So I really don't see that. Not that I wouldn't speak to them.
Which I think respect goes both ways, and clearly Maddie, as well as her sister and her mother and the rest of the Dance Mom girls, with the exception of JoJo, because she's the only one on talking terms with Abby. But everyone feels as though Abby took things way too far and she was disrespectful. So of course, if they feel disrespected, they aren't about to, respectfully reach out in any way. But Abby certainly feels as though it would be proper. It does sound like Abby would talk to Maddie though, but she might only want to talk to her to kind of change her mind about her mother, because Abby did not have good things to say about Melissa. And she says that she can't really separate Maddie from her mom and sister, whom she has more hard feelings with, because of the fact that Mackenzie had a song called It's a Girl Party. It went #1 in 3 countries. And Abby says she produced it. She bought the song. She did everything for Mackenzie. She had a 360 deal with her. But she she never saw a penny from Mackenzie's music, and it's clearly still very upsetting for Abby. And she says that there's just like a lot of ugly darkness that is there, and it's the reason why she probably could never reconcile with anyone in that family. But it sounds like if she were to talk to Maddie, she would try to like talk about her mom to her and like change the story around.
It's hard to separate Maddie from that because she's, you know, so in with them. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe someday a light will go off and she'll realize, you know, maybe my mother wasn't the saint I think she is, and maybe Abby did a lot for me.
Now, Abby does feel responsible for the original Dance Mom girls' careers and feels like she deserves her credit for that. But in regards to JoJo Siwa, Abby says that she doesn't feel responsible for her career. She says that her mom was a beast and she would have been famous even if she didn't end up on Dance Moms. She just felt that way. She found JoJo so motivated for success and doesn't feel the need to take credit for that. And it's no surprise to hear her talk about JoJo in this way, as the two of them do hang out and are on good terms. Quite literally one of the only ones who still communicates with her after everything, and the one who constantly sings praise to Abby. So she honestly can't say anything bad about JoJo since she is the only one giving her good press. But I will say that Abby did get herself into some trouble during this interview, and it wasn't even Dance Moms related, but at one point in the interview, Abby was talking about Tom Cruise with Sophia, and she was talking about the movie All the Right Moves, and she said that she likes high school football players and still does.
Have you seen
What?
All the Right Moves?
No.
That's the best movie ever.
With him in it?
Oh my God, yes, All the Right Moves. He's a high school football player. Oh my God.
Ooh.
That's my downfall. I like the high school football players. I still like them.
I like the coaches.
Not one that used to be in high school, but one that is. Yes.
And she got a lot of backlash for these comments, so she ended up taking to Instagram to address them, saying that she's just always liked the jock type.
Hello, everybody. Abby Lee Miller here, just to set the record straight. I do like those hot, athletic, muscular types of guys. The jocks. I always have, and I always will. And they must be able to go out to a club, gamble in Vegas, rent an ADA-compliant, handicapped accessible van, and they should also have a business, a bank account, success, and passion in their own right. Now, if you saw the movie All the Right Moves, starring Tom Cruise playing a high school football star, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, go watch it, and then you'll know. This November is my high school class reunion. Shout out Penn Hills, whoop whoop. And I hope that the heartthrob is there. But if he's not, I heard Tom Brady's available.
So that's what Abby had to say about all of that going around, and also what she had to say on Sophia with an F about all things Dance Moms. Let me know what you guys think about what Abby had to say in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.